Hey everybody, you're watching So Many Sequels and or listening, either one, whichever one.
That's right.
That's right. All right.
Do y'all remember how to do this? I know we're in the same place again,
back,
but like, goodness gracious,
and better than ever.
Nothing
is
is actually
well.
changing. This is too much. Let's go back to Zoom.
It's going well.
I like Zoom better.
I'm Josh.
Have you guys missed me?
I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
That was a weird way to go around in a circle, but whatever.
Yeah.
As you can see, we're back at the same table for the first time in a while. We've done like 2 months of episodes through Zoom. We thought about everything, looked at everything, felt like we could try this again. So, welcome to the show.
Yay.
That's right. Welcome back.
All right.
I'm super excited to be back in a room.
Yeah.
Talking movies.
Yeah.
You know, we did like most of the Men in Black movies from home.
We did.
We did most of the Matrix from home, but we're back for one more.
Did we do the first Men in Black?
In person, yeah.
In person?
We did that at the
Yep.
old apartment.
So that's
Little known fact.
6 movies we did
That sounds all right.
on Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Wow.
And we did that, we live streamed Matrix
Yeah.
1 from home.
Yeah, that's true. We did as part of SoundsTooth's Isolation Podfest.
That's right.
Fun. That was fun. Hopefully they invite us back for something like that.
Yeah.
This is weird to like look at everyone though.
It is. It's where you gotta,
This does feel awkward.
you can't just stare straight ahead and like just move just your eyes.
Yeah, where I can
We
see
have
you
to-
all in little boxes.
Yeah.
I like that better.
Well, if this doesn't
Let's
work
go back
out,
to Zoom.
maybe
I like
we'll
the
go back to
distancing
that.
we
Bring
have.
it back.
Yeah, we got some good distance going on.
Bring it back.
Just nobody sneeze. Or cough.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
We have a little different setup this time. Hopefully it looks good. This is all an experiment for us.
Yep.
We're gonna try it out. But anyway, like David kind of was saying, we're finishing up the Matrix today with the Animatrix.
That's right.
It is a collection of 9 short films set inside the Matrix universe. It came out in 2003, as did every single Matrix movie except the first one. This one actually came out in between Reloaded and Revolutions, and it kind of it fills in some holes.
Some places, yeah.
In well, I don't want to say holes because that implies like plot holes, and while there are plenty of those, I don't think those are the holes that this filled in.
No.
No,
This filled in more of like some backstory of
Right.
the Sentinels
Yeah.
and how they kind of took over humans, and
yeah.
it's a really weird collection.
I think it's kind of what the Wachowskis were going for.
Weird.
Yeah.
I think they always do.
Yeah, and I think in their world, weird is kind of good because they do set it. They do have their own way of crafting a universe, and I think that's really special about how they do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can definitely see their influence. You can definitely see their influence of like anime, of Japanese kung fu films, even of noir.
On their work.
On their work,
Yeah.
and there are some of these short films you can clearly see some of these short films you're just kind of leaving like what?
Yeah. Now
What
they.
the hell is going on?
Now the Wachowskis actually didn't direct any of these, but they did write 4 of them.
Yeah,
They were all directed and animated by famous to soon to be famous anime creators, directors, artists, and so you definitely get a sense of their influence, but you also get the infusion of what influenced them. You're right.
yeah. I also find it interesting that there's only one computer animated movie throughout these entire. There's 9 movies, I think.
Oh yeah.
There are 9.
The one movie that was computer animated was by this company called Square Company, and the only other thing they made was Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I can see that.
Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, Square Pictures was specifically built for that movie, hoping that movie was going to be this gigantic blockbuster. It flopped, and that company went down with it.
That's a shame.
And this is the only movie that
The only other thing they produced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did everyone think?
Whatever.
That's a shame.
Tom Kenny was in this.
He isn't one of them.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm sorry. I just don't. Listen,
That's
these were better than the other two, than the last two, but not by much, if you want me to be real.
I'd agree.
And I think that I was really into the first one. What was it called? Final Flight of the Ostrich is what I kept
Oh,
calling
really?
it.
You guys got Final Flight of Osiris first?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Is that not what it was for you?
The version I watched, it started with the Second Renaissance, the two-parter of those, and then Flight of Osiris was last.
Oh.
Huh.
Honestly,
Now, why would that be a thing?
Well, apparently,
How did you watch it? Did you?
I watched. I rented it. I rented it on Xbox.
Okay,
And I guess
so on
Xbox
demand.
has what I because I dug into this out of curiosity because they're listed in that order that you just talked about on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And so I did some more research, and apparently there's a difference between the theatrical cut that was shown in a few places and the DVD cut. So I watched, I guess, what is the theatrical cut versus the DVD cut. I can't, as far as I can tell, nothing else is different other than they put Flight of Osiris last versus first.
I think my main problem with this whole thing is that overall, I don't know. A lot of the stories I didn't care about. I thought a lot of the stories were not good. The ones that you talked about, the second, oh, I wrote it down. The second Renaissance, hated them both. Thought they were dumb. They were awful.
Those are my favorite too.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah.
Those are easily two of my top favorites.
Oh, they were terrible.
I didn't care. About those.
Absolutely terrible. But I like that first one.
Why were they absolutely terrible?
I didn't care.
Okay, but that doesn't mean absolutely terrible.
No,
That
I
means you
mean, I
care.
didn't. I think I just listen. I know that it was the backstory, and it gave me a little bit about the backstory of the anime or of the Matrix, which is whatever, cool. But I don't care about the world, so I don't care.
Oh.
Like I didn't care about the backstory. Didn't have me hooked. Didn't think that I didn't personally like the animation. It sucked me out, and I did not care. There was a lot of, and anime for a lot of people is win or lose. There's some that I liked, some that I didn't like. A lot of the stories just felt out of place and random throughout this whole thing. I wish they would have connected in some way, shape, or form and told me a better overarching story. You can't always get what you want. But I was really interested in the first one. In fact, I wrote down that I would trade the last two Matrix movies for a 5-season show.
Yeah.
Based on like a cartoon show of the Matrix. I'd much rather have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't care.
So to juxtapose against him slightly, Garrett and I think come from the same point of view. If you watched our Matrix Revolutions podcast, neither of us, by the end of watching the first 3 Matrix movies, are excited about Matrix 4.
Nope.
I'm not terribly excited. And as I've spoken, as I said in our very first Matrix review, this is a franchise that never really grabbed me. That I don't really care for, in terms of the universe. I'm just not invested. And like Garrett, I genuinely don't really care about a lot of the stories. That said, I actually really liked this. Whereas Garrett, I think your inability to care kind of stopped you. For me, I love that it gave me basically what my main complaint was I feel like there's not enough backstory to get you invested in most of the characters or the history of the world. Like these last people of Zion, I don't feel like I care. I'm invested in Neo because he's the person I've been given the most real information on, and I care about Morpheus because he's his mentor. And you always like mentors in movies. Let's face it. In this collection, you basically get 9 films. You get 3 movies that expand, or you get 2 movies that expand the world, that kind of build out the lore of the Matrix. You find out who struck first, in terms of the human machine war. You find out how it just evolved into and honestly a very realistic scenario of it becoming about machine rights and about humans saying no, machines have no rights and all that stuff, and it just devolving into global war on an epic scale. That's really cool, and that's the kind of stuff that we didn't get from the Matrix movies. The closest we get is Morpheus in the first movie saying, we don't know who fired the first shot, but we know we blocked out the sun. And that's about really, other than some like vague comments, that's the most we get in terms of what led to this world. Then you get 4, I think, really interesting shorts that just expand the world a little bit. My favorite, I think my favorite of these ones is called Beyond, starring Asuka, where she finds a haunted house where these kids play, and it's just a big glitch of the Matrix and it kind of expands upon what Oracle was talking about, where like myths and angels and demons and vampires and werewolves, all that stuff that we know about our world is just glitches in the Matrix. And so this haunted house where these kids play is a glitch in the Matrix that the agents swoop in and fix by the end of the short. I thought that was really interesting because it shows you life inside the Matrix. In a similar fashion, you get World Record, which is about a guy who in the Matrix did something so extreme that he actually physically broke himself out of the Matrix without realizing what he was doing. They say a lot of people at the beginning, they have a narration that says a lot of smart people, a lot of like discerning people in the Matrix can figure it out, but every now and then somebody does it by sheer accident. And so that's an interesting idea. I didn't love the animation style on that. It was kind of grotesque.
Yeah.
But in theory, that's an interesting idea that in no way involves Neo or any of them. You get a couple other ones like this. You get Program about people fighting in Japan, and you get Matriculated, which I didn't really care for.
No, Matriculated. Matriculated. Oh my gosh.
You done this before? Easy now.
Done killed him on Matriculated.
Ooh. I need a drink. Someone else.
It's too anime. It's too anime
I
for
have
me.
the exact opposite.
It's
in
too
that
anime for me. The last three expand on character backgrounds.
My absolute least favorite was Beyond. I
Really?
absolutely hated that one.
Oh, but I loved Asuka in this. Didn't you love Asuka?
Didn't know. I absolutely did not. I honestly only remember the cat's name.
Yuki.
Yep, that's
I
it.
don't remember the character's
I
name.
hated that one so much. I was bored out of my mind.
I didn't
was
remember
not
the character's
interested
name
in
either, but
any
she
of
looks
that
like
moment.
she looks like Empress of Tomorrow.
My favorite one was I wrote it down. Final Flight of Osiris was my favorite one.
Really?
I really
that was
enjoyed.
one of my least favorites.
Well, because I wanted to see. Those are the people that I was most interested in throughout the whole thing. You give me a show of these people, you got me signed up. I thought it was weird, the weird like sexual tension with the training. That was a little odd. I didn't need that.
That was a little animated.
But it hooked me in the story that they were trying to tell because it was very similar to the first Matrix. It's also why I liked Program.
Program's good too.
Yeah, and because it was very similar to that first Matrix, and you're in this training program, but it gives you a different perspective from a different country. Like I liked the samurai look, I liked the samurai and the Japanese influenced aspect of it, and I really enjoyed that. World Record was a whatever. I didn't care for it. I liked the animation. I thought there was a lot of detail that was put into it.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it was just really impressive, and like I respected it a lot. Detective Story? That was there. That was
I
fine
liked
too.
Detective Story.
Detective Story was my third favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Detective was probably one of my least favorites.
Yeah. It just
Like it wasn't bad. I just think compared to the other ones, I felt like it was the most. It did the least for me.
no.
But go ahead. That's one other one that gives us more character backstory. We get to see more of Trinity.
Yeah. You learn a little bit more about Trinity. You talked about World Record, which is I ranked them for me. So it's
I did too.
It's 1, 5, 8, 6, 4, 9, 2, 3, 7.
That means nothing.
I know. That just said that out loud for me. So what was 4? Fourth one was a kid's story.
Kid Story's great.
I thought it was pretty forgettable.
Kid Story, honestly, Kid Story. The thing about Kid in the movies, because you and I, we talked about who is he? Like,
was that the same kid?
It's the same kid that shows up and he's like bothering Neo at the beginning of Matrix Reloaded, and we were like, we don't know who this kid is. Like, personal opinion. I know a lot of people love the Matrix. Personal opinion. Kid is really uneven. He's like nobody in Matrix Reloaded. He's just kind of an annoying, not Newsome kid, but he's only in it for like maybe 12 minutes at most. Then he's like a big centerpiece of Matrix Revolutions, where like it's him running this ammo out at the last second, and he's getting in the big mech suit, and he's opening the door so that the ship can come in and set off the EMP. He has like a big pivotal thing, but he's got like zero buildup. And this was nice because it gives you some buildup that they honestly they could have put that actual story in Matrix Reloaded, and I feel like we as the audience would have actually liked Kid. Because now here's a new kid. Here's Neo was pulled out of the Matrix by Morpheus. Here's Neo pulling a kid out of the Matrix, and so now here's like a new person for the audience to go, oh man, they got another kid, and he can kind of be like, he can be Neo's apprentice, if you will, and we get to see his journey over those two movies. But he just comes out of nowhere, does really nothing, then does really nothing for a lot longer, then does the most important thing in the franchise. Well, maybe not the franchise, but one of the most important things that he could do. I like Kid Story a lot.
The two-parter was my second. I put them together because there's no reason for it to be two parts.
That was great. Yeah, it should be. It shouldn't be two parts. But that was great.
No, they were
not
bad.
like that.
And then Beyond.
That was good.
Those are my bottom two.
What about you, Josh?
I didn't rank them,
Now that you've gotten some water.
and I won't. Yeah, I can speak now, and I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Something about Matriculated.
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah.
Was it that? Okay.
That was the one where they put a robot in the Matrix.
Yeah, I didn't like that
Or
one.
put a machine in the Matrix.
That one was a little too out there for me. Didn't like it.
No, it was still too anime. Like it was like it was too hard to look at for me.
I don't understand why the second Renaissance was split into two parts. It just, I don't know why. I'm really stuck on it. There's no reason. It should just be one short
It should
film.
be one. I don't really know
Like, it's
why
like a
it's
weird trying to make a statement to make it two of them.
It wasn't like
Especially when they're presented together.
it wasn't like the two installments
Like back to
had
back.
that much different in
Right.
the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like here's the story of the second Renaissance, the first 100 years. Here's the story 800 years after that, where it's like okay, it makes sense to make
Right.
it two parts because they're like two completely different time frames. No, like one picks up like right where the other left off.
I didn't care for it too much just because I felt like it was like heavy on the action sequences, and I just didn't feel like I got a lot of story out of it, I guess.
I got nothing but story out of it.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
good.
I mean, it gave you a sense of history. It gave you a
It
sense
does.
of brutality. It gave you a sense of where everything kind of went wrong. And it's the guy who I think the lead animator, unless I'm reading this wrong, is the guy who did all the concept art for a lot of the concept artwork for the Matrix and for the Matrix comic book. And he's coming back for Matrix 4.
Oh, that's
Me
interesting.
too.
And I mean, I don't want to just go through and comment on all of them. Final Flight of the Osiris it felt incomplete to me.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I did like it, but it did feel very.
It felt like a
And
video game cutscene.
that's what makes me like, I think it ended and I was like, what was the point of it?
Yeah.
What was the story? Like, we saw two people inside the Matrix in a holodeck type situation from the Star Trek fans, fighting half naked for some reason.
Yeah. Or becoming increasingly naked.
Becoming increasingly naked as they
Yeah.
fight. Then it's like, oh shit, the Sentinels are here, let's go fight. And then they fought, and then it ended
Yeah.
with the main female character dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, that was kind of cool, but it literally didn't do anything.
I think for me, it really is just a matter of it. I think that each piece makes sense in what it's trying to do. I just wish that they would have made each piece tell a more formed story.
You wish there was an overarching story.
Well, not even an overarching story. I wish they fit together. I don't really have an analogy for it. I want to call it a puzzle, but a puzzle comes with an overarching theme, and I don't need an overarching theme. I just wish that they were ordered in a way that would have given me more, because it seems like it goes over here, and then it goes over here, and then it goes back here, and then it goes all the way back over there. And I'm like, well, why isn't that one with this one, and this one with this one? Like, if they just moved the order, I feel like it would be better.
I agree, because like, well, looking at all these short films, you get a sense that like nothing here like makes sense of its own. I want to say I'm having a hard time wording this, because like these anime short films that they've done, I think are a great concept. I think their execution was not good. Not all of them. Some of them are better than others, obviously.
Yeah. I think some are definitely
They stand
out better. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that of all of them, Detective Story was my favorite. And,
Really?
Yeah, Detective Story is my favorite because it links right into the first Matrix, and it stars Trinity, and
It has Trinity.
yeah.
I wouldn't say stars.
It has Trinity. It has it's they're trying to find the hacker Trinity. It's based on that noir theme, which the Matrix kind of has there in the beginning, and it's a perfect setting for it. I wonder if these movies, if they were ever like released while the movies were being like, while the movies were coming out, like if they just showcased a movie like before they premiered.
Yeah, I know they did that with Final Flight of the Osiris. That premiered in theaters ahead of Matrix Reloaded,
and in front of a movie called Dreamcatcher.
And it was the only one that did that.
I wonder why they didn't do it the other ones. Maybe they didn't.
Well, there was only one other.
But like, I mean, they could just break them up and just like show different ones at each.
I mean, they could have shown them in front of different movies.
I guess they could have, but
they showed Flight of Osiris
had
in front of a movie
enough.
called Dreamcatcher. They could have shown some.
See,
of the
and
other
that's
ones in front
strange
of
to
other
me
Warner
because
Brothers
like,
movies.
Why would you want to watch that if you were trying to watch a movie called Dreamcatcher and you're not a Matrix fan?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Why would you want to watch a Simpsons short if you're going to see Frozen 2? I don't know.
I don't disagree with you on that
But
either.
that's how shorts used to work. You used to get a Looney Tunes short, and then you got a movie about the Terminator.
And
it was just kind of like however this system used to work. We don't really see shorts anymore, except in front of Disney and Pixar movies.
You run into the issue that we already discussed, where the one they chose, Final Flight of the Osiris, is not a complete story to tell.
It really isn't.
Like those, like the Simpsons shorts and all those, the Looney Tunes and Disney shorts, they tell a complete story.
Yeah.
This is just like a weird cutscene from a movie that half the audience may not have even seen, and they were probably left wondering, "The hell was that?"
It's why it's towards the bottom of mine. While I think,
and it was 2003. I mean, today they could drop these on YouTube every 2 months. Before the movie released, but they couldn't do that then.
Yeah, I think the Flight of Osiris, it looks great, and especially for the time period, it's really forward in its animation style. But in terms of an overall thing, even though it's supposed to be like a prequel that builds right into Matrix Reloaded, I feel like it's not enough for me.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to a guy commented on our Matrix Reloaded podcast.
And said we're wrong and we're stupid and we don't know what we're talking about.
He didn't.
Just you.
Fascinatingly, he didn't say any of that stuff, even though you and I were very not happy about the Matrix Reloaded. But he said that he recommended we watch the Animatrix, and he said that we should check out some of his videos because he's a Matrix fan, like a video account, right? So I watched a few of his stuff. I reached out to him to ask what he thought the biggest takeaway from the Animatrix was, and he said that the Animatrix gives, for anybody who's interested in this type of thing, a greater sense of the history and a greater sense of some of the connections that make up the characters in the Matrix. That I think he's talking about your kid's story, he's talking about detective story, and he's talking about Final Flight of Osiris in that sense of getting a greater sense of the characters and their connections. And then he's talking about Second Renaissance. He loves because it gives you an actual sense of what happened. It's kind of like going back in time. Like, I would love to see a world almost, I mean, like you talked about shows, I'd love to see a show about the early days of the Matrix and that war. Like, who was the first person to figure out they were in the Matrix, or who was the first person to get pulled out of the Matrix and what impact that had. And then I asked him, and I think this is important, or her, I think it's him though, I asked them if he recommended that if you're new to the Matrix, or if you're introducing somebody to the Matrix, should they watch Animatrix first? Or not first. Should they watch it after the Matrix and before the re-sequels? And he said yes. He said that in addition to setting up some of the things that happen in Reloaded and Revolutions, like Kid's story and Flight of Osiris and all that stuff, he said that he thinks that it'll just give you a better appreciation for the little bit of detail you actually get out of 2 and 3. I paraphrased there a little bit at the end. But he said not everybody's going to like the sequels, but I definitely think that at least watching Animatrix before Revolutions is key to understanding the flow of the experience that the Wachowskis tried to design. And that's Neo-Matrixology on YouTube and Twitter. Neo-Matrixology. So
okay.
Check him out if you're into, like, I've never
appreciate that feedback.
Yeah.
I've never really cared or looked into the Matrix, but it was really since he commented on our video, I just reached out and asked him what he thought, and I think he understands. A lot of people don't like some of the Matrix movies, but obviously every franchise has their diehard.
Definitely
has their diehards,
yeah,
and has their big fans. Somebody's favorite movie is Matrix, or is Men in Black 2. We found that out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's always great. I get where he's coming from. I think that if I would have watched Animatrix after the first Matrix, then I would have appreciated it more. And I think that the fact that I enjoyed these as much as I did, despite my sheer hatred towards those last two, really impacted how I feel about this one too.
No,
I think I've never had movies like those two impact me the way that they really have.
It's so wild.
Like-
We've watched so much worse stuff than those
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, but like, I don't know how to explain it. I think I was just.
You guys watched
I
Sin
went
City
through this
Kill
whole.
a Dame, right?
I went through this whole. Yeah, but I was never into Sin City.
I know.
Like, I went through this whole whirlwind of like, I always liked The Matrix and it's pretty cool, whatever. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh my god, this is so much better than I remember.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm excited. And then it was like, no, you're not. And it punched me right in the face and was like, ha, death becomes you. And I was like, oh hell, this is the worst I've felt in a long time. And I think that those two movies really have soured me on this entire world.
That's so weird and such a shame because they have no impact on my thought of the world at all.
No, and
I don't. I know it doesn't you either.
no, I share your lack of enthusiasm to see this continue, but I was pleasantly surprised by this collection because I found more good in it than bad, and I really it hasn't made me necessarily excited for Matrix 4. However, to bring up, I want to bring up a fan theory that Neo turned me onto. Neo Matrixology turned me onto.
Okay.
I'll talk about that for Matrix 4 here in a little bit, though, because I think someone else should talk besides me.
Oh, well, honestly, if you had something to add before we move on, I think it's probably the right time because I think we've honestly talked this collection to its conclusion.
Do you guys want to talk about? Are you guys anime fans?
No.
I'm not either.
Nope.
It depends. I'm not opposed to it. I know a lot of people are like hard no on anime for some reason, but like I at least give it a chance because it's just like anything else. It'll tell a story. So like I mean I usually like the darker ones. So like I've seen Death Note, I've seen Psycho Pass. I'm not a big fan of like the super bright, bubbly fun time ones. So I'm not a big fan
not
of
the
those.
ones that I'm familiar with. Then
Yeah.
like Pokemon.
Well, even Pokemon I can
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Pokemon I wouldn't. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh I wouldn't say are like.
Well, now don't bring
Over the
Yu-Gi-Oh
top
into
one.
this.
I almost-
That's straight trash garbage.
I almost exclusively, in terms of anime, I almost exclusively I pretty much just watched the ones that were commercials for toys when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean I'm no
Pokemon,
expert, but
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I at least give it a chance.
I watched one episode of Beyblade. Yeah, okay. Well then here, I'll run down this theory for how
Not all of them are anime, though. Some of them
what
are.
these ones.
That first
Oh.
one was not anime in any way, shape, or form.
What
That was
the
A Flight of Osiris.
No, but it is a Japanese company.
Yeah.
Right, but it's
I don't
not
know
in
if
the...
that,
it's-
I don't know if that's the
I
delineation.
guess that's fair. I don't... You know what I think of
Animation
anime
studio, I should
is
say.
not...
Yeah.
Was not that one.
No.
Yeah. It wasn't in it. It wasn't in a traditional anime style.
The other ones were.
For the
To
most
my
part,
Not
remembrance.
all of them.
I think for the most part they were. I think
I guess I would consider
Kid Story was kind of a totally different
Detective Story. I wouldn't consider an anime. I'd classify that more as a noir.
Yeah.
one more fun fact I'll throw out is this movie. Not too long after this, we also got a collection of shorts called Gotham Knight. This was during a time Warner Brothers was interested in this idea of collections of shorts to expand movies. So if you guys may or may not remember, Gotham Knight is a collection of anime shorts about Batman set between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
I would watch that.
You guys ever seen this?
Nope.
It's about... I've never been that big a fan of it, but I'm not that big a fan of anime like we just talked about. But it's interesting. There's some good ones like this, and there's some bad ones. I think that's only 6 shorts though. It was when it came out, a lot of people referred to it as Batmatrix because they or the Batamatrix or something like that because it was basically the Animatrix idea. Well, okay. If you guys are cool, I'll go through a little bit of this theory.
I think so. The only question I could add is, how do we feel like the animation styles served each film, and would you have liked to seen a little more variety in the type of animation?
That's kind of the thing I get about the Animatrix is that, if there are 9 short films and 8 of them are anime, why not just do that 9th one anime as well? But like, I don't know that much enough about anime to say, oh yeah, well this is actually pretty good anime. It looks fine by anime standards. I'm gonna say that each one of them serve their purpose well. Again, I say Detective Story is my favorite just because it encompassed the theme very well. Not Kid Story. which is the one about the ghosts.
Yuki? The Yuki one?
Yeah,
What is that
Ghost
called? Beyond?
Yeah. Beyond, that's it.
It's not about the ghosts, but it's alright. Go ahead.
But like,
The haunted house, right?
the haunted
Not a
house.
haunted house, yeah.
Yeah, but like,
You know, the one about ghosts.
but like Beyond, I know
just
that
thought
that
was about
one.
cat.
I know that one had really interesting way to tell it through the anime. I feel like the anime was different out of all those.
It was more colorful.
It was definitely more colorful.
And see, that's I think that if you take Kid Story and use that style of animation for Beyond, that does a better job, because that whole point of that story is about the glitch in the Matrix, right? And they're trying to fix a problem. Whereas Kid Story, that animation style was very, I don't know how else to explain it, but so I'll say laggy.
Yeah.
Where it seemed
Felt
like
latent,
it seemed like things were playing in like a slow echo kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that animation style would have done really well
Maybe.
with that particular style. I really liked. I made notes on the style of anime. I also like Detective Story and how they used the noir style with that particular story that they're telling. I think for me, that's the one that made the most sense.
Yep.
I really liked.
I agree.
Program. I thought that worked really well with the story that they were telling. It was very classy.
That was the most traditional anime,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it was very classy.
Yeah.
It looked really vivid. It wasn't colorful, but it was very detailed, very vivid.
Yeah.
And same thing with World Record.
Yeah, World Record.
World Record was very detailed.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that style. I mean, I don't have one way or another.
I completely forgot about World Record.
Matriculate reminded me of Titan AE.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Until it went into the mind of the robot, and then it got weird.
Oh yeah, that was some trippy stuff.
Yeah, and then, like I said, Final Flight of Osiris was like any kind of like, it's not as Star Wars cartoony, but that's what I got because it was just like a regular traditional adult cartoon style looking. Second Renaissance, just didn't care about it.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, I thought. I
saying
mean,
that, I don't-
like it was fine. The animation was fine.
Yeah.
I thought that one seemed the most like it was trying to be like animation of like document footage.
Yeah.
Like that's how I think they were trying to go. What they're trying to go for there. Matriculated. Interesting enough, that's the director for that was the guy who did Aeon Flux.
Yeah.
That animated series. I like Detective Story. I think the black and white really helped that. Like you're talking about the noir setting, like just make it black and white, but animate it. Beyond, I like how colorful it was because it kind of felt like the fake world the Matrix tries to create for you, where everything's shiny and perfect. And why would you ever question that this is, that this is that this isn't real? I think that you're right. They could have done a little bit with the haunted house. They could have maybe added some latencies, maybe some, they did a lot of neat animation tricks to like have things smash and come back together and different stuff. But they could have maybe altered some of like how they were animating frame rates and things like that, made it seem even more eerie. World Record, I found to be kind of a grotesque animation style because they were like showing like every muscle in the guy's body and his whole face is like shifting around.
I found
that was kind of.
Yeah.
I think it served the story because it's all about this guy's like pure athlete, super detail. If I was gonna change one for the other,
Be a great Nike ad.
I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I would have loved to have seen maybe. I thought Second Renaissance was good, but I might have liked to have seen that change over the course of the events. Like if it started out the way it starts out, that's fine. But as things get more, as the war goes on, maybe the animation style sort of evolves to getting more either ugly or maybe more angular, or maybe I don't know, whatever you want to do. Something like you can see like how things evolve from being something you can recognize to being an almost unrecognizable world where these machines are blotting the sky and things like that. So I don't know. Animation stuff. I never really. I'm not a good critique of it.
No.
I just know when it looks great. When it looks great, I can tell you that.
Yep. Okay. Moving on from that.
Yeah, what's your fan theory?
So this fan theory is very interesting. So what we know about Matrix 4 is that Neo and Trinity have been, are back, or at the very least Carrie Ann Moss and and Keanu Reeves are back. So at the end of Matrix Revolutions, Garrett won't remember this, but for the audience, I'll reiterate. We see Neo get killed in the Matrix, and his body, dies in the real world. We see Trinity die outside the Matrix. She dies just getting impaled on 1,000 spikes, and is just dead in the real world. The theory is we see at the very end of the movie, we see like a flatbed robot cart off Neo's body. So apparently there's I've never played this. You guys may not have heard of it either. There's a game called The Matrix Online. And The Matrix Online has actually carried over some of what I guess is considered canon in the Matrix universe, which is the people of Zion, Morpheus and such, try to, after this peace, this truce that Neo was able to accomplish, they try to get the machines to return Neo and Trinity's bodies so that they can bury them or do whatever in Zion. And the machines say no. They refuse. So they have kept Neo and Trinity's bodies in the machine world, or in the machine city. So the theory is that because of a story that happens in the Matrix, or similar to a story that happens on the Matrix Online, is that after this peace, Neo and Trinity were basically put back into the Matrix with new memories. They've basically been blue-pilled and been given a reward by the machines. They're not being used as batteries or being used for enslavement. They've been, because of what they did for the machines by stopping Agent Smith, they've been basically given their perfect world. And there's even some suggestion that because of what we've seen in some behind-the-scenes video, that they've grown, they've gotten a little older. Keanu's wearing the new Keanu beard. There has been like set photos suggesting that maybe Neo is now the boss of the company that he worked for in the first movie before he was red-pilled. And so like the maybe the plot is going to be getting Neo and Trinity out of that world and back into the world of Zion. And the reason that it's kind of funny because the reason that they still be, the first thing they pointed out was, I know and a lot of people are saying, but Neo and Trinity are dead. And they're like, yeah, but Neo and Trinity have both died twice in this franchise before that death. Neo dies at the very end of the first Matrix, and Trinity's kiss brings him back to life, more or less. Trinity dies at the end of Matrix Reloaded, and Neo puts his hand inside her and restarts her heart, if y'all remember. So, like, it's not impossible for these characters to be revived within the premise of the Matrix. Like, their brains can be restarted, their bodies can be restarted. So, yeah, it's an interesting theory, and I don't know that. Again, that was Neo-Matrixology. That's his theory, or it's a theory he's kind of sourced through a lot of other people. I think that would make sense. I think most of the audience would accept that.
Did you? Would you guys? Is the theory that peace is over now, or they just want the bodies back? Because my whole in that theory is why? Like, why go and, like, okay, if the humans want their bodies to bury them, and they're like, no, we're keeping them here, but peace is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Why?
If that's the thing is, like, that's the part,
that seems like an unnecessary thing.
Well, that's the part of the fan theory that's not complete yet. Is that's something that's been that in the Matrix Online, that's Morpheus's goal, is to get Neo and Trinity back, because he cares for them. They're his friends. He loves them, or whatever. Get them back. They don't belong. They don't deserve to have their bodies just rotting in some machine graveyard or something like that. I think it's his personal story. I don't know if that's necessarily the viewpoint of all of Zion. The theory is not complete, so obviously there's some elements of this that I think make sense, but there's going to be some parts where we just don't know, because again, like he says at the beginning of his video, at this point it's all speculation. But what we do know is that it's not going to be a prequel. It's not going to be set between any of the movies. It's not going to be a remake, and it's not going to be them starting over as if the other two movies never happened. Like, that's what we know right now. So, like, they're expounding on if they pick up this thread from the Matrix Online, but they could also just not. But I think that's a theory that at least makes a certain amount of sense. At least I would go, okay, fair enough.
I've seen enough sci-fi, fantasy type movies to know that characters are never dead. And if you tell me a character died and they're coming back in the sequel, it doesn't even faze me.
Yeah.
I don't even think twice about it. Because of course they do. And you're right. They've already died countless times in this same franchise before they got to the air quote final death.
That's right.
So I'm not even going to question it. I did just find so The Matrix Online was released in 2005 and was discontinued in June 2009 due to low subscription numbers. It says that at the time of closure, it had fewer than 500 active players.
Wow.
That's bad.
I'm honestly kind of impressed by still 500.
After that many years,
or
yeah.
4 or 5 years after.
I mean,
launch.
but I've never played an MMORPG like that.
Yeah.
They don't appeal to me. But
More
I know
big.
there's a big
I've tried.
big crowd for it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if are they still a thing? The ones that come to mind, I feel like are old and
Well, I think
World of Warcraft that doesn't exist anymore.
I think
does it?
World of Warcraft. I think StarCraft. I think people still
League of
play.
Legends.
League of Legends. I don't think is one.
What about League
Yeah,
of
make
Extraordinary
that-
Gentlemen?
That's
Might
a
be.
bad movie.
What about A League of Their Own?
That's
That's
a
a Tom Hanks movie.
That is not an MMORPG.
That's on the Tom
More big.
test.
I've never played one. I've tried before.
Yeah, I
I
tried.
don't know. Does
RuneScape is one.
Skyrim?
People still play that
I
apparently.
guess stuff like
No, not Skyrim.
No.
But there is an Elder Scrolls Online, so that's what you're
what am
thinking
I
of.
trying to like
DC Universe
Fortnite
Online.
style stuff? That doesn't quite.
That's not.
qualify.
No, that's just a.
Even though there
large
is a
battle
story
royale style game.
element in some respect. I mean, they get to watch trailer premieres.
Yeah. It's a weird situation.
Yep.
Okay, so that's enough of that.
Yeah. So there's no real.
There's no box office.
There's no real box office stats. The only stat I can give you is according to a Forbes article from 2003, the Animatrix sold 2.7 million copies on home video,
That's a lot.
making $68 million in 2003. So that's a pretty good home video release.
That's, yeah.
Some of the movies released at a few film festivals, but obviously no box office stats there. So that's really it. Garrett's running the game this week.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
We got a total of 22 fans for this particular movie. It has been reviewed 14,344 times. I'll open the floor.
Oh, and for those who this might be the first time watching, this is the Letterboxd
Oh, yeah.
game where we're going to guess.
It's been so long since I've won, I forgot how to do it.
We forgot. We guessed the
Facts.
score of the Letterboxd on Letterboxd.com or on your.
Yeah, Letterboxd movie review system. We used to do Rotten Tomatoes, but they suck tomatoes. So
Yeah, we're not.
yeah, throwing down the gauntlet on Rotten Tomatoes over here.
Yeah.
Big spender. All right, what do we got? What do we think?
I'll go. Want me to go first, or you want to
Sure.
go first?
Why
I'll
not?
go first. I'll
You go
say 4.0.
4.0. Oh, wow. Okay.
I will say. Oh, I want to hover very close to that. 4.3.
4.3. Wow.
I want to say 3.8.
3.8.
Okay.
Wow.
Got a good spread here.
David, you'll remember because you did a bunch of reviews. What were the Matrix 2 and 3?
Oh, so Matrix 1 was 4.1.
4.1.
Matrix 2 was 3.8, I believe. Matrix 3 was, I think, 3.2.
Okay.
Let me double check that, because
I mean,
I wrote them down, but now I'm looking at them, and I've read so many Letterboxd scores in the last few days that I'm honestly.
Whatever.
Yeah. While you look, I'm just curious where it falls in the ranking system. The closest,
Oh,
With-
3.2 for Matrix Reloaded. Sorry.
a 3.8, is Andrew.
You
Oh.
say the closest. He got it exactly.
No, he didn't. It's 3.5.
Oh, I see.
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. Wow.
So
3.5
it's
for the Animatrix. So it is the
third highest.
third or second.
Well, if Matrix 2 was 3.8,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matrix 1 was 4.
No, sorry. Matrix Reloaded was 3.2. Just double check.
Matrix Reloaded was 3.2,
Yeah.
I think.
and Revolutions was.
Revolutions was.
I don't think it was a 3.
Let's see here. Matrix. You got the thing over there.
Yeah, you
I know. That's why I said I was going to pull it up, but I didn't want to interrupt you. You was going for
Matrix Revolutions is 2.8.
it. Okay. So yeah,
yeah,
this is the
it's
second
like-
highest.
It's the second highest, but it doesn't quite reach.
I knew people loved it.
Doesn't quite reach the heights of the first Matrix, but
Nope.
honestly, I think for what it is, it's pretty good. I mean, when we first spun the wheel and we landed on the Matrix, and you asked, "Do we want to do the Animatrix?" I was like, "No, that's gonna be garbage." Because that was my honest thought. I was like, "It's a bunch of it's a bunch of like stories that weren't good enough to make it in the main movie. How good could that be?"
Well,
But it turns out it was really good.
I mean, like, I'm actually happy now that we watched it because it's like, okay.
I thought you'd already seen it anyway.
No.
Oh.
I'm happy now that we watched all of them because it's like now there's like we know there's this expanded universe that the Wachowskis have been trying to build, and not just with 3 movies. So there's now 12 movies in general, 12 movies overall, and soon to be a 13th.
This made me more interested in the Matrix than the second 2 movies did.
Oh God.
But that said,
personal scores.
Personal scores.
I would give this a 3.25.
What the heck?
3 1/4.
Okay, so
You know you can't
3.3.
rate.
3.3.
Giving that 3.5 is what that is. Rounding it all the way up.
I'll give him the 3.3.
Since
I
when
can't
do we
do that
do
with Letterboxd.
3.3s?
It don't matter. We've always done that because we can do it anywhere within the 1 to 5 scale.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna round anyway with the final average.
Well, hopefully that works out for us.
I'd like to.
So it doesn't matter.
You can do whatever you want.
I'd like
I'm gonna
to change
give
my
it.
score.
I'm gonna
Oh
give,
my God! Now you've got him self-conscious.
Well, he should be.
It doesn't. It takes
You
a sneeze to
should
make
be
that boy feel
self-conscious.
that's what I'm saying.
Look at you. Listen to you.
What do you want to change your score to?
Nothing.
See, now I've done the reverse.
It's only increments of 5, bro.
I was gonna pull a joke, but never
Her
mind.
sister was a witch.
Somebody's a
A
bitch.
bubble. Sorry.
That's
one of my favorite
If
videos.
same, and you reminded me of it just the way you said that. Okay,
Uh,
3.3.
I'm gonna give it a solid 4. I
Wow.
think this was really good.
Okay.
How can you be surprised? He talked
I
the
know.
most about it.
I'm
and
just those
and, like,
numbers are high.
And I gave a fairly glowing review.
exacted.
You did.
I didn't even read this long thing that I wrote in here.
2.5.
2.5.
Yep.
That's too low. I'm gonna bully you now.
It's
I
okay.
It is
agree.
not.
It ain't gonna work on me.
It's too low. It's the 3 at least.
Nah.
It's a 3 at least.
It was okay.
For me, it's a 3,
It was okay.
and for all of us, it's a 3.2.
Hang on.
What?
Oh, for the combined, it's a 3.2.
Combined is 3.2. So a 3. Yep. Well, you just said it's at least a 3, and we got that. So.
It is, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I just don't like Garrett today.
I like the Matrix any day, apparently. Except for the first one. Hey, I ranked it higher than the other 2.
I'm just kidding. You did. He did. He did. This is Garrett's second favorite Matrix movie.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Okay, well, I think that wraps up this episode of So Many Sequels. If you're listening to us on the podcast feed, go check out our YouTube channel. Search for So Many Sequels on YouTube. We don't have a custom URL yet because we need a specified amount of subscribers.
Yes, sir.
And we've not reached that yet. So, if you would please subscribe, we can get a fancy custom URL, and that would be really swell.
Hot.
Yeah.
So, again,
What are you, Paris Hilton?
But if you
What?
You said hot?
I guess I did.
you should.
You don't even know what you said?
I remember saying something. I don't remember that.
This boy.
He goes in and out. He goes in and out.
You heard him say hot, right?
I told you, this man in his brain is an old memory card. It only has so much space.
Oh, God.
And you gotta start deleting stuff.
What is this, like 2003?
This man's a PS2 memory card for a brain.
PS1 maybe.
8 megabytes. That's all he's got.
No, it's 64.
All he remembers is dates.
Yeah, he remembers random dates and time. Anyway, find us on YouTube and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for So Many Sequels there. And if you're watching the YouTube channel, you can go find us on the podcast feed in your favorite podcasting app.
Yeah, listen to us while you drive.
Yeah.
For real.
I got a phone call from someone who said they did that today.
Oh, nice.
I was like, cool.
Listen to us while you drive. And Patreon. So Many Sequels on Patreon.
That's right.
Go throw us $1 or $2 or $5. That'll help us
20.
hopefully get a website going and all that fun stuff.
That'll be hot.
Yeah. Or we might just start setting up a Venmo because, man, I'll tell you what, Patreon and all the other stuff really drains the cash out of that.
Yeah.
Do they?
No, I mean not if we were making $500 a month, but when you're making not very much at
Yeah.
all, it's like
Their cut is bigger.
their cut seems bigger.
Okay.
And so does PayPal's.
We'll be back next week with a brand new series. Check out our social media feeds later this week. if you're watching this in real time, to find out what our next series is going to be.
Gonna be good.
And if you
Hopefully.
subscribe, you'll just get it.
Listen, I can't go through this again. I need a good movie.
Well, you might be SOL.
yeah.
I know.
I have been saying for years that we need better movies on this list, and y'all keep adding purposefully bad ones.
There's not. They don't
already
make
added all
sequels
the
to
good
good movies.
We
We've
already
already
done
done all
talk
the good
about.
ones.
We
They're
already.
so fun to talk about.
If that's the case, then stop adding bad ones.
Well, the thing is, we've already
Gotta
got all
add
the
all
good
the
movies
sequels.
on. You got to add any new sequels.
Not until we've run out.
Look, I added Young Guns. Okay,
I don't have a problem with Young
I
Guns.
don't have a problem with Young Guns either.
I'm bringing stuff to the table. What are
Even
you
if it's
bringing, Andrew?
even if it's a bad movie, I just need it to be fun to make fun of.
Oh yeah.
These were just disappointing.
We got some of those
Yeah.
on the wheel, no doubt.
Okay.
I think you need to watch more movies with me because
Probably.
any movie's a bad. Any movie can be a good movie.
Well, maybe we can start doing that.
We get all
soon.
DP around.
We can have movie nights.
What did you say?
We can have movie nights.
I thought you said movie dates.
Well, that too.
That made me uncomfortable.
You want a little sweet DP?
Bring in some, Somebody bring the drinks. Somebody bring
Is
the
that
candy.
you
we'll
or a
supply
Dr.
the
Pepper?
food.
Little sweet. Both.
Can I bring the popcorn?
No.
Oh.
I know you have a popcorn maker, but
No,
we need,
because you'll
we
put
need Circle
like
Cinema popcorn.
you'll put like shortcake
That's
in
true.
the popcorn.
Yes.
That is true.
At least for now,
What?
Circle Cinema in Tulsa is still doing weekend curbside pickup for movie snacks. You get a big tub of popcorn, you get a large candy, you get 2 drinks, and you get like an assortment of different flavors of Kit Kat for $20. So you should do that on the weekends because it's a really good way to support Tulsa's only independent movie theater.
That's right.
And you get good movie snacks that we've been missing for so long. I'm wearing a Circle Cinema shirt that I got from Flash Flood Prints in Tulsa. They're doing a Rising Tide fundraiser you can find on their website to support various different businesses and artists in Tulsa.
Our old
we
alum
just
RSU Radio.
found out
Yeah.
that RSU Radio has a shirt that you
Oh,
can buy.
really? Cool.
Yeah.
Flash Flood is printing an RSU Radio shirt
All right.
for
dog.
like $20, I think, and a portion of the proceeds goes to help them.
That sounds cool.
Each shirt goes to help whatever business the shirt's for. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a cool project. Check them out. That's it. Until next time.
Thanks for watching.